Hey guys, Gina here. I'm going to scrapbook this layout. I'm going to walk you through the scrapbooking of this layout. I've already scrapbooked it. It's 7:30 in the morning. I'm a bit tired. I'm looking through LE Studio papers that I've had in my stash for quite a long time, and I'm scrapbooking that cute little photo of my nephew Gabriel. He is just adorable. And I'm just walking through, like I said, going through all of those LA Studio papers to find out, just to figure out which ones I want to use. And so what I do is I go through the collection pack, and then I pull the ones that I think I'm going to like, or the ones that I think I'm going to use to the side, and then I go from there. So I don't have more options than I need sitting on my desk. And what I decided to do, because I had two pieces of this background paper I'm going to use, and that background paper is from Day to Day. It's called Treasured Moments, and I really liked how they did that layering at the top with like the stars and all of that. So I wanted to use that. But I didn't like the bottom of that paper. So what I decided to do was use that teal and so you'll see me fussing here. At first, I cut the top of that paper off, and I thought that I would use that. And then I didn't like how that looked. So I'm going to go back, and because I had two sheets of that paper, I am going to go back and pull the other sheet out right here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to layer this ribbon, like this teal and yellow ribbon like paper, on top of that full piece of the paper with the layering at the top. Because, see, I'm trying to make it work because I don't want to waste the whole piece of paper now that I cut that layering off at the top. But I didn't like how it looked with the ribbon paper, with that top pieces of the top piece of paper with all the layers. I didn't like how that looked on top of that ribbon-like paper. I liked it better when the background there with those layers at the top was the full sheet. And I don't know why. It's just what looked better to me. So then that ribbon paper is also from Ellie Studio Day to Day. It's called Good Morning. It's like a teal and yellow ribbon. And then that yellow paper is from their Serendipity collection, and it's called Cherish. And when I move off screen, the reason why I do that is because I'm using my new paper trimmer when I was using my new paper trimmer when I scrapbooked, and because it takes up so much real estate, I have it off to the side. So when I move away from the layout, that's what I'm doing. I'm just turning my chair to the other table so that I can cut the papers. So I'm liking how this looks. I just think that, and you'll see me, I'm going to go through, I pulled out all of the Ellie Studio die cuts for the Cameron collection. And I'm going to end up using a bit from both of them, from all three of them actually. I pulled three sets. And I'm going through them, just figuring out what I want my layers to look like and how I'm going to lay this all out. So I'm going to play with this for a bit. So the good thing about the LE Studio collections, not only do they coordinate, but if you like that layered look, they have large tags, small tags, 4x6 cards, 3x4 cards, and circles. So you can really do a lot of layering, and you can ensure that your layers are all matching because the LE Studio all of their collections all match, and they give you all sorts of different shapes to layer, so it works out really well. And again, I'm just going through and seeing if I want to use any other layers that I have. At this point, I was still scrapping using my Scraptastic kits and my Studio Calico kits, but I haven't subscribed to them in quite a while. This layout was made on November 27th of 2013, and it is now March, so I'm about 4 months behind on. I've scrapbooked pretty quickly. This layout took an hour and 15 minutes, which is quite long for me. I scrapbook pretty quickly. I'm a pretty simple scrapbooker sometimes, most of the time. I really like the process of telling the story. And sometimes I feel like, pulling out the paints and all of that. But other times I kind of like a kind of clean layout, I guess. I don't know. I'm not really sure I know what my style is. I always say I just put the stuff down in a way that looks good to me. And that's, I go from there. So I'm actually going to cut up a piece of this, what is that, like brown bag stuff that one of my kits came in. And I'm gonna just tear that down and use that. I'm gonna think about it first, I think, but then I really am going to oh, and look how this is me. This is so very typically me. So I decide I'm going to use that brown paper, but I decide that I should have inked the edges of all these other papers. So, and you know I've already glued them down. So I'm going to use Gathered Twigs Distress Ink and a sponge dauber tool thingy there. And I'm going to, oh, well, lucky you. I cut a lot of that out. You don't actually need to see me ink all of that stuff. How about that? So I went through and I inked all the edges of my papers, and here I'm just tearing off this paper bag. And I can never tear, I mean, even using a ruler, I can't tear straight, so I give up. It's just going to be kind of jaggedy and edgy and jaggedy and what was the other word I was trying to find there? It's going to be jagged and I don't know what that other word was. But I don't know what I do. I don't know if I hold my ruler down too hard or I don't know what I do, but I cannot tear. Like even just regular paper. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I like the jagged kind of edges on this paper here, and I like the fact that you know, it's a boy layout, and even though it's a super cute picture of him, you know, when I think you think messy when you think of boys, or at least I do. In fact, there are some girls in my family. When I think of them, I think of messy. You know, I have my princess. Madison is my princess, and then my other girls, Casey is a princess too. But then my other girls, you know, they'll be out playing in the mud with the boys. So anyway, but so when you know, when I'm doing the layouts, I like that I like that it wasn't so neat. You know, it's a boy layout, so I wanted to. It gives some texture to the layout, this paper bag, and I inked the edges of that with that Gathered Twigs Distress ink. And I just liked that it gave a place to ground the layers that I wanted to put on the layout, and it also pulled that brown from the top, that craft kind of color from the top down, which I liked. And I'm also going to bring in more of that craft sort of thing with that die cut card that says True Story. And then I'm just going to go through and I'm going to layer all of my I'm just going to layer all my die cuts from Ellie Studio. And you'll see me fuss with them a little bit and decide where I want to place them. And here are some transparency letters that came in a Studio Calico kit. And they're like a transparent green. And there's green in Gabe's shirt and in some of the arrows and some of the die cuts I use. So I thought this was a good opportunity to use this alphabet. As you know, when all the letters come together like this, it's not as easy to find the letters that you want. So I had to go through and pull them all out. And my title is going to be Such a Cutie, because he is just adorable. I love that picture of him. When I was doing this layout, I texted this picture to his mom, because I just love this picture of him. Anyway, and it's odd that he's giving me like a normal smile, too. He's got this little crooked grin that he has. That's his smile. I love it. He's just so cute. Anyway, so I'm continuing to look for these letters, and I like the fact that, you know, the top of that craft paper, that craft bag is bumpy, and that what's the word I'm looking for? The letters are also going to be bumpy like that. I could not find a second C in that set, so I just cut an O. I just cut a little piece of an O out to make me a second C, and I don't think you can really tell. I used the one C, the C that's in the word such, to give me a template for the C that I, you know, cut down for Cutie. So I'm going to use some of these wood veneers that came in the Studio Calico kit, no, in the Scraptastic kits, and I'm using that distress ink to also add some ink to those as well, because I don't want them to be so clean looking, I guess. And I really want to use that arrow paper. I just can't figure out where I want to put it, and it doesn't end up there either. So So I'm going to take it off, and then I decided to just cut a small piece of this background paper. I know I need to fill in that little weird gap there, but I didn't like the way the arrow paper was doing that, so I decided to just cut a piece of this background paper and just layer that underneath of it, and I think that works. It pulls the background paper into the layers of the main portion of the layout, so I really like the way that looked. And I will use that arrow die cut, but it'll wait a couple of minutes until I figure out where I want to put it. And now, dun dun dun, dun no, I'm gonna put it right down here in this bottom right hand corner. And I also added some of that background paper. I just felt for balance, because I had it in the upper left hand corner, I would add some of that background paper that I used to the lower left, the lower right hand corner, just to balance it out a bit, to pull those colors down. And just going through my die cuts and inking the edges of all of them to make sure that there's some continuity, even though they're all from LA Studio, so they all work well together. Because the colors are all pretty light, I think that the ink is a good way to pull to give the die cut some definition. And I'm going to use this flare badge that has an exclamation point on it. And that flare badge came from a Scraptastic This Life Noted kit from August of 13. And I haven't been mentioning which kits all of these like, flare badges and different embellishments come from. But if you look on the blog, and I promise that this time the blog post will go up in a more timely manner than the last one. You know what the real problem is? The taking pictures of layouts is what the real problem is. So I'm going to put the date down here using those same transparent stickers, and I'm using Tombow Mono glue to put them down, and that's not the multi-glue, that's just a strict liquid glue. The multi-glue, there's the multi-glue. So the multi-glue, the difference between the clear blue bottle that you see there and the opaque white bottle is that that's two-way glue in that green bottle. It's two-way glue in the white and green bottle, and what happens is if you let it dry without adhering something to it, it becomes a temporary adhesive. But if you adhere something with it and press it together, then it's a permanent adhesive. The blue one, the clear blue one, is just permanent adhesive from the get-go. And what I decided to do after playing with that and driving myself absolutely bonkers because you could see the adhesive through the letters is I decided to just run them through my Xyron. And because it put adhesive on the full back of the transparent letter, you can't see the adhesive through it. They all look uniform. So that worked out really well. And I think for these transparent letters, I will definitely use my Xyron again. I really want to use that rad die cut, but I end up not using that. I'm gonna cut, like, I've been playing with that card for quite a while, but I really just like the stars on it, so I'm gonna just cut the card apart and just tuck the little stars in there. And then I don't know if you noticed, but I used two of the asterisks. I hate that word. Those little star shapey things, to put in the in both of the little clusters on this layout to bring that green down into the actual layers. And I'm going through some stamps here to see if there's any stamps that work. And even though I put that, these are all stamps I need to put away, it's terrible. Even though I put that pattern paper in between that round die cut that says this and the picture of Gabe, I felt like it needed something in there. I'm going to use a Scraptastic stamp that says 100% without a doubt all boy. And it came in that Scraptastic stamp. There you go. I'm going to actually use that, and I'm going to stamp that with Versacolor in brown. I'm thinking about it here, but I actually end up doing it. And I know it's a little, I always get that pang of what do you call it? Like anxiety when you're thinking about using, stamping directly on a layout that you're almost finished. And it's funny to think about that today. If you watch Chamel's video from yesterday, she talks about what to do, if you do that and you mess it up. So I thought that that was a really, in watching this and thinking about stamping directly on your layout, and the layout is almost finished. It can be a little bit intimidating, but I don't care. I just go for it, and whatever happens, happens. I thought about using these Technique Tuesday stamps, but I end up not using those. And you saw that I used the star circles, and I stamped them on both sides of the layout. And then I'm going to put this 100% without a doubt all boy, and it worked out well because I didn't do any layering here, but I did pick up my photo because I didn't want the ink on the edge of the photo. And that 100% without a doubt all boy stamp has, you'll see in the still pictures on the blog, if you take a look over there, or the still picture at the end, that stamp has an arrow shape with the cutouts that mirrors that arrow shape that's right above that oh boy die cut, which I thought was good. I'm pulling out my trusty Sharpie, and I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to do my journaling. Yep, here we go. And I think that will finish it up. I'm actually, I really like this layout. And the only thing I thought about after I put it down was there's red at the very top and red nowhere else, but I just ignored it. I just let it go. I don't think that there's a lot of red up there that pulls your eye. So that's the end of the layout for today. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.